Hey everyone, this is Dave from Dave's Ohio Barbecue. Today we're going to be making baby back ribs on the smoker over here. We got a couple people coming over for dinner. Problem is, everyone likes different kinds of ribs, so I am going to show you the perfect recipe that is guaranteed to satisfy everyone. This rib recipe is actually a variation of a recipe that comes from AmazingRibs.com. It was called Meathead's Memphis Dust. I'll put a link to it down below in the description. Make sure you check it out. It's a great website. Make sure you always have one clean hand and one dirty hand when you're working with meat. So I'm only going to touch the meat with the one hand, and then the other one is for salt and seasoning, things like that. You want to coat it with salt about 2 hours ahead of smoking time. Now you can actually do it overnight if you want to, but 2 hours would be enough because that'll give the salt time to kind of absorb into the meat. It's almost like a brining effect, and it really gives you nice juicy ribs when you do it. How much salt you put on there, if I had to guess, I'd say it's maybe between a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons per rack, but not much more than that. You're not dousing it with salt. Get them all salted, get them all covered nice and evenly. And then once you do that, you're just going to wrap everything up in foil. I like to use these pans, put it in the fridge, and let it sit. Like I said, at least 2 hours in advance so that the meat can absorb the salt. So as the rib rub goes, it's a little variation. It's got brown sugar. I use maple sugar in mine because I'm not a big fan of white sugar, but you can use white sugar in it. Paprika, garlic powder, black pepper, ginger, onion powder. Again, I'll put the recipe down below in the description. I like to use an old shaker. This one was a maple sugar shaker that I had laying around. Makes it easy to apply the rub. How much rub do you apply? Just enough to kind of coat the meat. You still want to be able to see pieces of the meat underneath. You don't want it caked on there. You're not talking like a ½ inch. You're talking about a light dusting, okay? So you can see here I'm covering this side of the rack. I actually like to rub my rubs in a little bit. So you see I'm kind of pressing it into the surface, make sure it has good contact. Flip it over, do the other side. You want to do this a little while, maybe half hour, hour before smoking. That again gives the rub time to kind of react with the meat. You'll know it's working when you look at it. The rub will start looking kind of wet, and then that's how you know the rub is ready to be put on the smoker. So again, make sure you get all your racks nice and evenly coated, rub it in, cover it up with some foil, pop it back in the fridge. So now I'm going to go outside and I'm going to get the smoker started. I've got a full chimney of charcoal right here. It's just Kingsford Professional is what I'm using. Light it up. It takes about 20 minutes for it to get really going, but you can see here when I dump it in, I got most of them ashed over. Some of them are still, waiting to be lit. Perfect amount of charcoal. Kind of have to rake it around to get my drawer closed here. But I'm going to close it. I'm going to open up my vent, and I'm going to let it go. I put a pan in the bottom of my smoker, a water pan. It also catches all the drips. It gives nice moisture to the cooker. And now I'm just going to close it and let it get up to temperature. I'm using apple wood for this smoke, and I've got a bunch of just random apple logs in my yard, so pop them in there, let the smoke start, and let the smoker get up to about 250, 275. This is my first time trying this rib rack that I got. I bought it offline. Usually it would be ideal for a lot of ribs, but I'm going to try it for this and see how it works. Now that I've got the ribs on, I've got the cooker back up to about 250. I'm going to keep it there about between 250, 275, and I'm not even going to crack the lid for the next 3 hours. I'm just going to let it go, let it smoke, let that smoke absorb into the meat. Remember, if you are looking, you are not cooking. So just leave it. When 3 hours passes, I'm going to crack it open, going to spritz it with some apple cider vinegar, close the lid back up, and let it continue going from anywhere from another 2 to 3 hours, depending on the meat temperature. All right, those ribs have been smoking for 3 hours. I have not opened the smoker at all, haven't looked at them. So what I'm going to do now is open it up, take a look at them, spritz them with some apple cider vinegar. I just use any brand of organic apple cider vinegar I can find. I might rotate the ribs around a little bit. I might take the 2 outside ones on the rib rack and put them in the middle, take the 2 middle ones, put them on the outside. Besides that, I'm just going to crack it open and see what we've got. As you can see, those were looking pretty good. I decided not to use the rib rack anymore. I'm just going to spray them out. It's only 4 racks. If I was doing a bunch of racks, I might keep it in there. But this makes it easier to spritz and easier to move around. So I'm just going to leave them in there for another hour, get the temperature back up to 250, 275. I am not going to touch them. And then after about that hour, I'm going to put some barbecue sauce on them and then bake them for another hour or so and see what we got. The ribs have been on for about another hour now. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take a temperature. Taking the temperature is kind of hard to do because there's really not that much meat and there's a lot of bones in the ribs. So it's hard to get a real accurate reading. What you're looking for though is when you pick up the ribs, you want like the bark and the outer skin to kind of crack, like it's almost falling apart. And you also want the meat on the end of the bones to start like drawing in a little bit, maybe about a ½ inch or so. So look for those signs if you can't get an accurate reading. If you are going to use a thermometer, you're looking for 190, 195 should be a good stopping point. Mine probably need about another hour. I'm going to put some sauce on them, and then I'm going to let the sauce kind of just bake in there for the last hour. Maybe try to keep my temperatures down closer to 250 so I don't scorch it too much. So here are the ribs off the smoker. They're done. Took almost 6 hours to get them done. You can see the bark on here. Beautiful. Look at that nice crunchy bark. That was my father-in-law's hand. Next time I'm going to stab them. They look beautiful. Perfectly done. So there you have it, guys. Those are baby back ribs, smoked in a way that everyone's going to love. On the side right here, I'm going to post some of the comments that some of my guests had tonight about the ribs. As you can see, they were pretty good reviews. Everyone seemed to like the ribs. So thank you for watching the video. Please, as always, make sure you press the subscribe button down below. Check back soon. I'll have more videos very soon. Thanks for watching.